If you're craving land, quiet, and a chance for truly unplugging, then I think you are going to love Buckingham, Virginia. I'm Pam, a local realtor who has grown up in this region, and today I'm giving you the real deal scoop on this small town gem just outside of Charlottesville. But fair warning, it's not for everyone. Stick around and let's figure out if Buckingham is the right fit for you. So today's video is actually a suggestion by one of you, my lovely viewers, who grew up here in the Buckingham area, and it sounds like is actually looking at coming back. So that tells you how special it is. Buckingham is about a 50 to 60 minute drive southwest of the Charlottesville area, depending on where in the county you're coming from and going to. It's a fairly large area. It can actually take an hour from tip to top to drive Buckingham in itself. So what if you're headed towards, say, UVA Hospital or the UVA campus for work, for whatever it is? Well, for that, you're looking at probably 55 to 60 minutes time on the road. If you're looking at driving into Charlottesville to take in Fridays after 5, you need to plan on about 50 minutes to get there. And for my folks who are here at Rivanna Station, again, remember that's our mini base in the Charlottesville vicinity, you need to actually plan on over an hour commute time. I mapped it out. It looks like it's going to be about an hour, 10 to 15 minutes. But if you're headed south in Buckingham, actually about 30 minutes outside, you'll actually hit Farmville, which is a bigger town with a hospital, shopping, and college town vibe. So keep that in mind when you're planning, because depending on what it is you want, that's where we need to be looking and considering. Is it rural? Yes, absolutely, hands down. But it is totally not off the grid unless you want it to be. Okay, so let me break this down. Buckingham has that old school, peaceful vibe. I want you to think rolling hills, long gravel driveways, and neighbors who bring you fresh eggs. Oh, and Yogaville, an international spiritual center, is here as well. There's not much traffic, as you can see. There is a lot of wildlife. And cell service, well, it depends. But I'm gonna say, people here are salt of the earth. It's not uncommon for someone to wave even if they don't know you. Try that in Northern Virginia, right? Also, it's a slower pace. If you love quiet evenings, sitting on your porch with nothing but crickets and stars, then this might be the place. Buckingham might be where you should call home. So next up, I actually want to talk about what kind of homes can you get here. And the reason I want to talk about that right here is because I don't know if you can see it, but right over my shoulder is an original homestead for this area with that stone fireplace. And you can't see it because it's overgrown, but there used to be a house obviously attached where all that growth is right there. So I thought, what a cool fitting tribute for this area. So let's talk about housing. This is one of the most affordable spots in Central Virginia, hands down. You can get a 3-bedroom, 2-bath on 10 acres for under $325,000. Seriously. You can find cute cottages on 2 to 5 acres for around $200,000. And yes, modulars and double wides are common here, so don't let that shock you. But many are on great land and with huge potential. If your dream space includes gardens, maybe a mini farm, your dollar is going to go way further out here in Buckingham. Okay, so if you want help figuring out which properties are worth a look, call, text, or email me. Just remember, I don't do rentals. I don't even know. I am sure there are rentals out here in Buckingham, but I don't know how much they would run or where they necessarily would be located. I know there are some, and I'm pretty sure they're going to be a lot cheaper than Charlottesville. But don't be fooled either, okay? Some of these estates can go into the hundreds of thousands of acres, and some stunning 6-bedroom homes that are upwards in the multiple millions of dollars. So it doesn't matter. If this is the lifestyle you're looking for, there are options for every price point and everything else involved. Again, Pam, all about options. People beeping at me. I better get it going. So real quick, I do want to pop back and talk about getting around and commuting. And I know I mentioned this earlier, but I wanted to bring it back up. If you work remotely, yay, great deal, spot on. But we have to remember that we have to check the internet before we decide on your final place that you actually want to live at. Because again, that can be difficult in some locations. But if you don't work remotely, then let's talk about the driving from central Buckingham, okay? Where I am sitting right now, I'm actually sitting at the courthouse, which is considered the historic district, and the courthouse was actually designed by, yes, you guessed it, Thomas Jefferson. Again, in our neck of the woods, everything revolves around old Tom, his amazing architecture and his decisions and his writing and his cultivation, his grapes, his failures, all of that. Anyways, so talking about getting around from central Buckingham, right now, going down to, say, Charlottesville, UVA Hospital, I'm looking right at about 50 to 60 minutes. Middle of the day, not like there's anything rush hour, but please remember, most of the driving is going to be 2-lane roads, predominantly double solid yellow lines, but there are passing zones. But in general, you just want to be aware that there's not going to be a shortcut for cutting through. If you're one of my folks who is coming, they got PCS to Rivanna Station, so Injic, DOD, something like that, you're looking over an hour, about an hour, 10 minutes. If you're looking for the Pantops, Centera Medical Center area kind of stuff, you're looking really closer to just under an hour. So again, going with that 50 to 60 minutes. And remember, we are really, really close to Farmville. Farmville from right here officially is about 30 minutes. It's not necessary that I would be going to Charlottesville all the time. This is a really good podcast and coffee mug in the cup holder kind of drive. How's that? Does that make sense? That's what I want to get across. Beautiful drive, not stressful, not hard, unless you don't want to slow down, and meaning you're going to get behind people who, if the speed limit's 55, they're going to do 50. This is not going to be do 70 and pass people, because that would be a big no-no, and that it, again, slower pace of life here. If you're commuting daily to Charlottesville, you're going to feel it. But again, if you're remote, retired, or maybe only heading in a couple of times a week, it is totally doable. Once you know what you got to do and stuff, you go in on, say, Tuesday, Thursdays, or whatever it is, totally doable. It's just part of the routine. All right, we're moving on. Let's see what else I need to tell you about. So now here's what I want to talk to you about. We talked about commuting, but one of the things that you have to have in your daily life are grocery and medical services. And you don't want to rely on that to be in Charlottesville or Farmville. So let's talk about the essentials, because honestly, I know some of you are wondering, where do I get groceries, or can I see a doctor out there? The schlep factor is real, but the grocery store, you've got a Food Lion just down the street in Dillwyn and some family-run markets in town. For bigger trips, many folks will head to Farmville because it's only 30 minutes. And if you prefer Charlottesville, then that's only going to be about 50 to 60 minutes, depending on where you're going. All right, what about medical care? There's Buckingham Family Medicine and a few smaller clinics locally. For full hospital care though, you're gonna be heading to Centra Southside in Farmville, which is about 30 minutes. Or you're gonna be heading in towards UVA Hospital, which is about an hour. So yes, you're gonna need to drive, but it's not the wilderness. You absolutely can get what you need here. It just might not be 5 minutes down the road, and you're not gonna have the selection because again, you know, when it's smaller and more rural, you're gonna have less selection. All right, what should we talk about next? I got it. Okay, so let's be real. Buckingham, even as beautiful as it is not going to work for everyone. Totally agree. And you know what? If I was among the numbers at this stage in my life, it would not work for me either. But you know what? It is a great fit and a great option if you want land and peace. You work from home, or maybe you're retired. You don't mind a 30 to 60 minute drive for stuff. So in other words, you run out of milk right as you're making a cake, I don't know, and you have to run to grab milk. Yes, you're either gonna run to a Quickie Mart or you're gonna run to the closest place, which could be 30 to 60 minutes away. You know who else this would be great for? And I know this personally because someone I dearly love, they live in Buckingham because you know what? They wanna be naked all the time on their own land. Yes, I absolutely have a client here and I know this is the main reason he chose this area. He lives on, I wanna say, over 13 acres. And sure, yeah, he loves to be able to sit down by his lake, it's actually more of a pond, and to be naked. He doesn't have to care about anybody seeing him whatsoever. Maybe you love gardening or animals or rural life. Buckingham would be spot on. Or you want a lot of value for your housing dollar. All of those premium reasons Buckingham should be on your list. All right, so let's also get real. It's probably not gonna be your match if you need high-speed internet 24/7. There's a lot coming into this area, and some areas also have fiber. So it's not that it's not available, but I'm saying overall in general. If you hate long drives, probably not gonna be the best area. If you crave walkability and shopping, you need Uber, Target, or a fast Wi-Fi all the time, or you prefer a newer, or actually you prefer a subdivision vibe. Not gonna find a ton of that in the Buckingham area. It's a rural lifestyle, but that's exactly what some folks are craving. And honestly, more and more people I'm hearing about, that is a prime thing they're requiring. They're moving from concrete jungles. They don't want all of that. They can work remote, and they want, do you hear the birds? They want the peace and the quiet at their home. If you're still unsure, text me. I'm happy to talk through whether or not Buckingham makes sense for you. Reach out. You have all of my contact info. We can absolutely connect, have a lovely chat via Zoom, and we'll decide if it's right for you. All right, let's keep going. Okay, so now just 30 minutes south is actually Farmville. Gives you more. And I want you to remember that because you're not gonna be driving to Charlottesville for most of your stuff. Walmart, Lowe's, fast food. Farmville has a really cute main street with coffee shops and boutiques. You'll find Longwood University, cultural events, and energy of a university area. There's a small hospital, and my favorite place, holy crumb, green front furniture. Look it up. Seriously, people drive hours to shop there from all over the U.S. And I'm being very, very serious. Check it out. You will be blown away about what is available in Farmville. So again, while Buckingham is quiet, you're not isolated by any means. You're going to be limited, and you're coming into this knowing that you're going to have to drive. But holy crap, you get all of this, right? Okay, so even though we have this amazing area, here's a few things I want to remind you about, a few real life tips. Wells and septics are going to be the norm here. Don't skip inspections. So again, this is why you want somebody who knows what they're doing on your side. It's not a big deal to have a well or a septic tank, but you want to make sure you come into an ownership knowing exactly the condition and everything. Next up, internet varies. Some places have Firefly internet, which is phenomenal and obviously the premium. But you know what? Others are still working off of satellite. Cell service, well, it's gonna honestly depend on your carrier. Quite honestly, I'm using Verizon and I have no problem. Verizon does better out here than, say, AT&T or T-Mobile. Now, there are some carriers who run off of Verizon towers, so those should also be an option. Many homes are going to be on private roads, so you'll be handling maintenance and snow removal. Keep that in mind. Your realtor should check all this out before you buy, so there are no surprises. Oh, and spoiler alert, that's me, Pam. I will make sure you are covered, even if you're living in this beautiful, stunning area. I know the things to look for and I know the things to ask. All right, moving on. So now let's talk about some lifestyle and community vibe. Life in Buckingham is honestly all about slowing down. Again, salt of the earth people. There are volunteer fire department events. There are school sports, church dinners, fall festivals, and folks who still leave out produce stands with cash boxes and hand-painted signs. Actually, one of my favorite is a flower farm, and they open up and they have the flowers in mason jars, and they're $10 or $20. And it's an on your honor thing. It's amazing and fabulous. Also, the outdoor vibe here just is outstanding. The James River runs along the county edge. Plus, there are several large parks, including the James River State Park, the Buckingham County Park, and even the Appomattox Buckingham State Forest. Now, that one's officially not fully in Buckingham, but that's okay. Sprawling natural areas for hiking, for mountain biking, and just freaking quiet retreats into the woods. If this all speaks to your soul, then honestly, Buckingham, you may just have found your home. So, could you see yourself in Buckingham? It's peaceful, it's spacious, and holy crumb, it is affordable. But it's not for everyone, and that's totally okay. But you know what is for everyone? Good and honest information and advice. And that is what your girl Pam is here to help you with. Your Charlottesville journey starts here. Let's chat. Text, call, email me anytime. I grew up around this area, not Buckingham specific, but like I said, I've got dear friends who currently live here, and I've spent enough time on the waters or out and around about here, the Slate River, and everything. So, and I work here. and I'll always shoot straight with you. Just a reminder, I don't do rentals. You don't need me. Rentals are very much set up in our area that you can totally do them on your own. But if this helped, if you liked any of this video, I would love if you would hit the thumbs up, like it. I would love if you would subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss the next small town spotlight that I'm gonna do. Also, be on the lookout. My gift to you, my relocation guide, is gonna be hitting soon. And I'm so very, very excited about it because I know so many people have the same questions as you do. So that is what I'm trying to help with. But until next time, I hope you have an amazing day. I'm actually going to head back into town. I have a walkthrough to do with some of my clients who are closing on their new home, and I'm so very excited for them. And yes, they found me on YouTube and they reached out because they didn't know where else to start. So if you don't know where to start, text, call, or email me, and I look forward to talking to you. Bye.